I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these. My wife, 32F, and I, 34M, have been married 7 years. No kids, 2 dogs, decent house, normal life. From the outside, we look solid. She's sharp, confident, blunt. I used to think that was strength. Now I think it was just cruelty wrapped as honesty. The problems didn't start with some huge fight. It was small things. Little lies. She'd say she was working late and come home defensive. She started guarding her phone like it was classified information. Every normal question from me suddenly became, "Why are you interrogating me?" I'm not a jealous guy. I never checked her phone. Never had to. Then one night, she told me she was having dinner with her coworker Melissa. Later I saw on Instagram that Melissa was out of town at a baby shower. When I asked her about it, she didn't blink. Plans changed. Why are you stalking my friends? That was it. The first time, I felt something crack inside me. Not because of where she was, but because she lied so easily, and made me feel crazy for noticing. After that, everything felt slightly off. Like I was living with someone who was halfway out the door. I told myself not to overthink it. I was wrong. After the Melissa lie, I tried to let it go. I really did. I told myself marriages go through weird phases. Stress. Work. Burnout. Whatever. But the lies didn't stop. They multiplied. She started going out more. Work drinks. Team bonding. Networking. Every time I asked for details, she'd sigh like I was exhausting. One Friday, she said she'd be home by 10. Midnight, nothing. 1:07 a.m., still nothing. Her location? Off. For the first time ever. I called. Straight to voicemail. She walked in at 1:43 a.m. No apology. No explanation. Just irritation. Why are you awake? You don't have to monitor me. Monitor her. She smelled different. Not just alcohol. Something unfamiliar. Sweet. Like cologne that wasn't mine. My stomach dropped, but I didn't have proof. Just that gut feeling. Then the accident happened. The next morning she left her Apple Watch on the kitchen counter while she showered. It buzzed. Over and over. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear. I just looked down. A name I didn't recognize. Last night was worth it. Followed by, miss your mouth already. My hands actually went cold. Like full body numb cold. Another message came through before I could even process the first. Delete our thread. Don't want him seeing. Him. Me. That's when everything stopped being paranoia and became reality. And I wish I could say I handled it calmly. I didn't. I just stood there staring at her watch like it was going to suddenly explain itself. Last night was worth it. Miss your mouth already. Delete our thread. My brain tried to rationalize it for a full 5 seconds. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe this is some weird group chat thing. Then another message came through. Same time next week. That was it. My chest felt tight. Not dramatic movie tight. Just this heavy, crushing pressure like someone had dropped a weight inside me. She walked out of the bathroom in a towel, drying her hair, completely normal. Casual. Comfortable. Married. I held up the watch. She froze for half a second. Just half. Then her face hardened. Why are you going through my stuff? No panic. No guilt. Just anger. I didn't yell at first. I just asked, who is he? And she rolled her eyes. Rolled. Her. Eyes. Oh my God. You're being dramatic. Dramatic. I read the messages out loud. My voice was shaking. I could hear it, and I hated that it was shaking. She crossed her arms and said, "It's not what you think." Classic. I asked her straight up, "Did you sleep with him?" And instead of answering, she said, "If you'd been paying attention to me this year, maybe I wouldn't need attention from someone else." That hit harder than the texts. Not because I believed it, but because she said it so easily. And that's when the yelling started. Once the yelling started, it escalated fast. I asked her again straight up, "Did you sleep with him?" She didn't answer. She just kept pacing, shaking her head like I was the unreasonable one. "You're suffocating me lately. You're always suspicious. You don't even try anymore." It was surreal. I was standing there holding literal proof, and somehow I was being put on trial. I repeated the question. Finally, she snapped, "Fine. Yes. Once. It was one time. And it didn't mean anything. One time. Except the texts didn't read like one time. They read like planning, like routine, like history. When I pointed that out, she changed the story. "Okay, it's been a few weeks. But it's casual. It's not emotional." As if that made it better. Then came the twist I didn't expect. "It's not even about him," she said. "It's about how invisible you've made me feel." Invisible. I felt like I'd just been shoved off a cliff, and she was explaining how the wind made her do it. The worst part? She cried. Real tears. And for a split second, my brain tried to comfort her. That's how twisted this felt. I kept thinking, is this my fault? Did I miss something? Was I that disconnected? But under all that confusion was something colder settling in. She didn't look sorry. She looked annoyed that she got caught. And that realization hurt more than the cheating itself. I should have walked out right then. Instead, I asked questions. The kind you know will hurt, but you need answered anyway. "How long?" She hesitated this time. Not because she felt bad, because she was calculating. "Like a month." I told her that didn't line up with the messages. She exhaled dramatically. "Okay, fine. 2. Why does it matter? It's over." It wasn't over. I could feel that. Nothing about her body language said over. It said damage control. I asked who he was. "A guy from the gym." That one hit differently. Because I remembered when she suddenly got serious about fitness 3 months ago. New outfits. Longer sessions. Later returns home. I asked if he knew she was married. She shrugged. "It's complicated." That shrug broke something in me. I asked where. She said, "His place. Sometimes my car." I didn't ask for that detail. She just dropped it like it was nothing. My brain started filling in timelines. The work drinks. The networking events. The night she came home smelling like a scent I didn't recognize. I asked if she ever brought him into our house. She got offended. "God, no. I'm not a monster." That's when I actually laughed. Not because it was funny. It was this hollow, disbelieving sound. Like somehow, that was the moral line she wouldn't cross. She kept talking, trying to frame it as a mistake, a phase, something that just happened. But nothing about this just happens. It takes planning, deleting messages, turning off locations, lying straight to someone's face. And she'd done all of that, over and over. That's when the anger really set in. Not explosive anger. The quiet kind. The yelling stopped at some point. I don't even remember when. I just shut down. She kept talking, explaining, reframing. "It wasn't serious. You're overreacting. Marriages survive worse." Every sentence felt like it was designed to shrink what she did. I sat at the kitchen table and realized something terrifying. I didn't recognize the person standing in front of me. This wasn't guilt. This wasn't remorse. This was strategy. Then her phone buzzed again. She glanced at it instinctively. Just a flick of her eyes. But I caught it. "Is it him?" I asked. She snapped. "Why does it matter?" "We're talking." So I said, "Call him. Put it on speaker." That's when the mask slipped. She went from defensive to furious in seconds. "You don't get to control me. I'm not your child. This is exactly why I needed space." Needed space. While sleeping with someone else. The mental gymnastics were insane. I told her if it was over like she claimed, calling him shouldn't be a problem. She refused. And that refusal told me more than any confession could. Then she said something I still replay in my head. "I didn't think you'd ever find out." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I messed up." Just that. Like the problem wasn't the betrayal. It was the discovery. That's when the quiet anger turned into something heavier. Not rage. Clarity. Clarity is brutal. Because once it hits, you can't unsee anything. I looked at her standing there, arms crossed, jaw tight, waiting for me to either explode or apologize, and it just clicked. She wasn't scared of losing me. She was scared of losing control of the narrative. I asked her one last time, "If I hadn't seen that message, would you have told me?" She didn't answer right away, which was answer enough. Then she said, "Eventually." Eventually. Like I was supposed to be grateful she might have come clean someday. Another twist came out when I asked if he knew about me. She said, "He knows I'm married, but he understands my situation." My situation? I asked what that meant. She hesitated again. Then, "I told him we've basically been roommates for a year." Roommates? I felt physically sick hearing that. Because we weren't roommates. We were normal. We went on trips. We watched shows together. We planned renovations. We talked about maybe trying for a baby next year. Apparently, I was the only one living in that reality. I asked her if she loved him. She laughed. Actually laughed. "It's not like that." "Don't be dramatic." But here's the thing. It didn't matter if she loved him. She lied. Repeatedly. Calculated. Strategically. And suddenly I wasn't arguing with my wife anymore. I was negotiating with someone who had already stepped out of the marriage and just hadn't told me yet. That's when I said something that surprised even me. "Pack a bag." And everything shifted again. The second I said, "Pack a bag," the room went silent. She blinked at me like I'd just insulted her. "You're kicking me out?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't yell. That calm scared her more than anything I'd done that night. "Yes." She started pacing again. "This is my house too." Technically true. Both our names are on everything. But I told her I needed space. And if she refused to give it to me, I'd be the one leaving, permanently. That's when her tone changed. Not softer. Just calculating. "You're seriously going to throw away 7 years over this?" Over this. Like it was a dent in a car. Like it was a bad week. I said, "You threw it away." "I just found out." That hit. I saw it in her face. But instead of apologizing, she doubled down. "You're acting unstable." Unstable. Because I didn't want to share my wife with some guy from the gym. She grabbed a suitcase aggressively. Threw clothes in without folding them. Slammed drawers. The theatrics were loud. Halfway through packing, she stopped and said, "If you push me out, don't expect me to come back." Like it was a threat. And for the first time that night, I felt something other than anger. Fear. Because what if she meant it? What if she walked out, and that was it? 7 years reduced to one suitcase and a slammed door. She zipped the bag. stared at me like she was waiting for me to cave. I didn't. She left. And the second the door shut, the adrenaline drained out of me so fast I had to sit down on the floor. The house felt too quiet. And that's when the shock finally caught up with me. The door shut, and the house felt hollow. It's wild how fast a place can change. Same walls. Same furniture. But suddenly it felt like I was sitting in someone else's life. I stayed on the kitchen floor for a while. Not crying. Not yelling. Just staring at nothing. Then my phone buzzed. Her. I'm at a hotel. I hope you're happy. No apology. No. I'm sorry. Just that. 10 minutes later, another message. I can't believe you throw me out over one mistake. One mistake. I didn't reply. Then came the twist I didn't expect. She called me. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Her voice sounded calmer. Almost gentle. I don't want to lose you, she said. We can fix this. People work through worse. And for a split second, just a split second, I wanted to believe her. 7 years doesn't just evaporate. There's history there. Inside jokes. Shared grief. Shared goals. But then I remembered the watch. The messages. The delete our thread. I asked her if she'd blocked him. Silence. Then, I need closure. Closure. That word snapped something back into place for me. I told her if she needed closure with him, she didn't need me. She got sharp again instantly. Fine. Maybe I don't. And she hung up. Just like that. 1 minute reconciliation. Next minute threat. That's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about cheating. This was about who she actually was when things got hard. And I wasn't sure I'd ever really known her at all. The next morning hit like a ton of bricks. I barely slept. I couldn't eat. My chest felt tight all day. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage was shredded. The trust. The jokes. The quiet comfort of knowing she'd be home at 7 p.m. Gone. All of it. I kept replaying the messages in my head. The ones on her watch. The way she lied so effortlessly. The way she made me feel guilty for noticing. The way she cried and laughed in the same breath. I felt every emotion, but none of it made sense. Rage. Sadness. Confusion. Loneliness. A hollow kind of grief. The kind that doesn't get better with time, just lingers. I tried calling a friend, but I couldn't even form the words. She cheated and I. Nothing came out. Just silence. I wandered around the house like a ghost, touching objects we'd shared. Her coffee mug. The throw pillow on the couch. The blanket she loved. Each thing now felt foreign. And then the self-doubt crept in. Was it me? Did I fail her somehow? Could I have prevented this? Could I have seen the signs earlier? It's funny. Even when you know the betrayal isn't your fault, your brain still tries to pin the blame on you. I hated myself for even thinking it. By evening, I realized something terrifying. Life had changed. And there was no going back to what we were. Only forward. Only uncertainty. And I wasn't sure if I wanted that forward with her. That night, I slept on the couch. Not because I wanted to, but because our bedroom felt like a shrine to someone who didn't exist anymore. I kept replaying the fight. Her lies. Her excuses. The way she made me feel insane while she was the one betraying me. At 2 a.m., I found myself scrolling through old texts, not to find answers, but almost subconsciously, like trying to find the before. The funny jokes, the good morning messages, the plans for trips we never took. And then I felt rage again. Not hot, explosive rage. Cold, bitter rage that sits heavy in your chest and gnaws at you. But mingled with that rage was grief. Grief for the person I thought I married. Grief for the trust that's now dust. Grief for what I thought was normal love. I realized I was mourning her, not for what she did to me, but for what I believed she was. And that hurt more than anything else. I tried to sleep again. Couldn't. Every sound felt louder. Every creak of the house, every bark from the dogs reminded me she wasn't here. By morning, I knew one thing. I couldn't ignore this. I had to make a decision. But I didn't know which one. Stay? Leave? Try to fix something that was fundamentally broken. I was exhausted. Broken. But also, strangely clear-headed. Something had shifted. It wasn't hope yet. Not even close. But it was the first hint that maybe I could survive this. The next few days were a blur. I stayed mostly home, avoiding friends because I didn't want to explain. I couldn't. Not yet. I started noticing things I'd ignored for years. The little manipulations, the sudden mood swings, the way she could gaslight me into feeling guilty for her mistakes. Her texts kept coming. Can we talk? I miss you. I made a mistake. Every single one felt like a knife wrapped in silk. I didn't reply. Not once. I tried to imagine what life would look like if I stayed. Could I ever trust her again? Could I look at her and not remember that watch, those messages, that smug shrug? Could I rebuild a foundation that she actively destroyed? And then the truth hit me hard. I didn't have to forgive her. I didn't have to try. I could walk away. It wasn't just anger or betrayal anymore. It was self-preservation. My mental health. My sense of reality. I started packing a bag of my own, little things I wanted to reclaim from my life. Pictures, books, clothes. Every item felt like reclaiming a piece of myself that had been lost in the chaos of her lies. By the time I looked in the mirror, I realized something else. I was going to be okay. I just didn't know if she would be part of that. Okay. That realization was the hardest part. Accepting that someone you love so deeply could hurt you so fundamentally, and that you might have to walk away, is its own kind of heartbreak. After a week of sleepless nights and endless replaying of every text, every excuse, every lie, I knew what I had to do. I called her. My voice was calm, controlled, colder than I thought I could be. We need to talk. For real this time. She tried the usual tricks, crying, blaming, gaslighting. You're overreacting. We can fix this. But I wasn't a step behind anymore. I had clarity now. I said, no. I've seen the messages. I know the truth. And I can't live like this. I can't rebuild something that's been destroyed so completely. There was a pause. Then a laugh. Not a happy laugh. A sharp, cutting laugh. Fine, she said. Then I guess this is it. It hurt like hell. 7 years, gone in a sentence. But underneath that pain was relief. Relief that I was finally making a choice for myself, not for her. I realized staying would mean constant doubt, anxiety, and resentment. Leaving meant reclaiming my life, even if it was terrifying. And for the first time in months, I felt like I had control again. I told her I wanted a clean break. No dragging it out. No. Maybe we can try later. Just done. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. But this time, I didn't flinch. I didn't feel like the world had ended. I just felt free. It still hurt. It probably will for a while. But I had my answer. I was walking away. And I knew I wouldn't look back. The first few days alone were brutal. The house was quiet in a way that hurt, not comforted. I went through all the motions, eating, walking the dogs, laundry, but my mind kept circling back to her lies, the texts, her smug indifference. But slowly something changed. I started noticing small things about myself again. The music I liked. the shows I wanted to watch, the walks I took without worrying if she'd be annoyed, little freedoms I'd taken for granted. Friends came over. I talked. I cried. I laughed. I vented. For the first time in months, I felt raw, but also alive. I even started laughing at memories that used to hurt. Not at her. At us, before all the deceit. It was strange, bittersweet, but it reminded me I'd survived this far. I realized that betrayal leaves a scar, but it also teaches something you can't unlearn. I learned to trust my instincts, to listen to that gut feeling that had been screaming at me all along. I learned that silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it's the calm before the storm. Most importantly, I learned that my life isn't over because someone else decided to betray me. I still have choices. I still have control over my happiness. And slowly, I started building it back. One day at a time. Because the hardest part of this wasn't just the cheating. It was realizing I deserved better and deciding to take it. It's been a few months since she left. The anger has faded, but the memories linger, not like a weight, more like a reminder. I learned some harsh truths. Sharp tongues and confidence aren't always strength. Sometimes they hide selfishness. People can lie without hesitation and gaslight you into questioning your sanity. Betrayal doesn't always look like a dramatic affair. It can be subtle, repeated, calculated. Most importantly, I learned about myself. I learned that I can survive heartbreak, deception, and the collapse of a life I thought was secure. I learned that walking away doesn't make me weak, it makes me human. If you're going through something similar, trust your gut. Don't ignore the red flags. And remember, your self-worth doesn't disappear because someone else's morals did. I still grieve what I thought we had. But I also feel something I hadn't felt in years: clarity, freedom, and a small, stubborn hope for a future I actually deserve. It hurts. It'll hurt for a while. But it also teaches. And sometimes, the hardest lessons are the ones that save you in the long run. I guess that's my story. And yeah, it still stings, but I'm walking forward.